Hi guys, in this video we'll talk about past tenses, we'll compare them, describe what they are used for, and then we'll talk about used to, also for what it is used, how it is used, how you form the affirmative, the negative, and the question form, and so on and so on. It's nothing too complicated, so I think you'll be just fine. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to describe a memorable experience using different past tenses. You will know when to use past simple, which is the simplest of the three. You will be able to use past continuous. You will distinguish between the verbs which are regular and irregular, and you'll know how to spell them. And lastly, you'll know when to use the past perfect tense. This short text is about the band Metallica. You don't have to do anything at this point, but to listen to me reading the text and pay attention to all the different past tenses which I've enumerated in the previous slide. When I was 15, I went to a music festival with my brother and his friends. We arrived on Friday evening, looked at the program and decided to go to the main stage to hear Metallica. As we were walking across the park, there was a flash of lightning. A storm was coming, although it wasn't raining yet. When we reached the main stage, Metallica had started playing. We were all really impressed with the band. I'd watched a few of their songs on YouTube, but hadn't seen them live. Their show was amazing. By this time, it was raining hard, but we didn't mind. In fact, it made the atmosphere more dramatic. Thousands of people were cheering and dancing in the rain. Then suddenly, the music stopped. The water had damaged the sound equipment. As you can see here, all of the past tenses were used in this text for different purposes. Past simple should be used for actions which started in the past and finished in the past. Like in the example above, we arrived on Friday evening, or we looked at the program. Past simple is also used to talk about or when describing series of actions or events which happened one after another. So we arrived on Friday evening, looked at the program, and decided to go to the main stage to hear Metallica. Past continuous, on the other hand, is used for giving background information, describing actions which continued for some time, and for actions which were interrupted by another action. And look at the example here. Thousands of people were cheering and dancing in the rain. That is background information, so giving the context. And then suddenly the music stopped. Notice here that there is past simple in the second sentence, and this sentence interrupts the first one. So these sentences usually go in pairs. So if you have one action which got interrupted by another, the one being interrupted is in the past continuous, and the one interrupting it is in the past simple. Past perfect is used when referring to actions or events which happened before another past action. When we reached the main stage, Metallica had started playing. So firstly, Metallica started playing, and then we reached the main stage. In front of you, you have 18 gaps on which you have to write the correct form of the verbs in brackets. You have to put the verbs in the correct past tense, either in the past simple, past continuous, or past perfect form. And in one example, you have to write a verb in the present perfect, so pay attention to that as well. When I was about 12, I went to the Notting Hill Carnival in London with my dad. We traveled there by underground. At about midday, we got off the train, walked up the steps, and came out of the station. Here we can see simple actions which happened in the past when the speaker was about 12, so you know when they happened. And another reason why you should use past simple here is because you are simply enumerating actions which happened one after another. I was really shocked. I have never seen so many people in one place. You should have put this verb in the present perfect form because the speaker is referring to something which started in the past but was not over yet and will probably change in the future. A band was playing reggae music and people were dancing in the street. Giving background information. As I was walking along the street with my dad, then this action gets interrupted. I stopped to watch the band for a few minutes. But when I turned around, my dad had already gone. I was really scared, but fortunately, my dad had written his mobile on a piece of paper. Mobile number, excuse me. Firstly, the dad wrote his mobile number and then the following actions happened. I walked into a shop and asked the shop assistant to phone the number. When my dad answered and heard my voice, he was really shocked. And then before that, he hadn't noticed that I wasn't with him. But obviously, as you already know, there are regular verbs and irregular verbs. With the regular verbs, you don't have to think a lot about the past forms. You simply add the id and you get the past simple form, and the past perfect is built in the same way, only you have to use the auxiliary verb to have in the past simple form, so it had crashed. However, with the regular verbs, the past simple and the past participle form are often different, and they have to be learned by heart. Like in this example, I saw Peter, he'd already seen me, and the present simple form or the infinitive of this verb is to see. In this task, you have to complete each sentence with the past simple and the past continuous form of the verb in brackets, and then we'll check together. Sentence number 1. James was waiting for the bus when he saw his girlfriend with another boy. This action, James was waiting, got interrupted by another past action, which is in the past simple. And the same principle applies to all of these sentences. So the action which gets interrupted has to be in the past continuous form, and the action which interrupts it has to be in the past simple form. Be careful to double the final consonant in verbs to stop, for example, and in other verbs which you'll see in the next slide. The verb shine, its ing form is written without the final vowel, so e is dropped and the ing form is written with only ing. shinning. Sentence number 3, we stopped playing tennis because it was getting dark. We were having dinner when my dad got home. The sun was shining, so we decided to go to the beach. I was listening to my MP3 player, so I didn't hear the doorbell. Here you have to choose the best ending for each sentence. So think about whether you are dealing with your sentence which interrupts another past action, whether the action happened before another past action, so you have to use the past perfect form, and so on and so on. So take your time, do this exercise, and then we'll check together how you did. I didn't have any money for the bus because I had spent it all. She or he had spent all the money, so he or she didn't have any money for the bus. It was a hot and sunny day, but a cool breeze was blowing, giving background information. Past continuous. When the phone rang, Lucy answered it. I couldn't hear the film because the people in front of me were making a lot of noise. This action continued for some time. In the morning, we couldn't see our footprints in the snow because during the night it had snowed again. During the night it snowed, and then in the morning they couldn't see anything. I had to use my brother's laptop because I had broken mine. He broke the laptop, and only after that he had to use his brother's. Now we are going to talk a little about used to, which is used to describe past situations or habits that are different now. I used to live abroad, which means I lived there for a long time in the past, but I don't live there anymore. I used to work in a newspaper shop at the weekends, but I don't do that now. So habits in the past, or some things which happened in the past but are kind of different now. Underneath these two examples, you see how you can form the affirmative, the negative, and the interrogative form. Sally used to live in Scotland. Sally didn't used to live in England. Did Sally used to live in Ireland? In this task, you have to decide whether to use the affirmative or a negative form of used to, depending on the meaning of the sentence. Read the sentences, decide what the sentence actually means, and then write used to either in the affirmative or the negative form. I didn't use to eat unhealthy food, but now I eat a lot of crisps and chocolate. This building used to be a post office, but now it's an internet cafe. There used to be a shopping center in this town, but it closed last year. I didn't used to like romantic comedies, but now I watch them all the time. Our next door neighbors used to have a BMW, but now they drive an electric car. I used to do my homework on time, but now I usually hand it in late. Once again, you use used to talk about past habits, or to talk about actions or states which were very common in the past for you or for the speaker or for somebody else, but which are not the same anymore. So something changed. And that would be all, I think. I hope you learned something new. I hope that this lesson wasn't too boring or too difficult for you. And that would be all for this video from me. Thank you. Bye.